What's going on, everyone? Dr. Frankie Bashan here, and I hope you're all having an awesome holiday, relaxing, hopefully surrounded around some good peeps, some family time, good food, and taking time to recharge. And I'm doing the same, and it's been mellow and beautiful, and we all need time to recharge. I love being busy, and I love my career and all that, but sometimes we've got to take time to just connect with those who are important to us and also connect with ourselves. So hopefully you're taking time to do all that good stuff. I have something exciting to announce. We are at, let's see here, 14,709 subscribers on my YouTube channel. So I thank you all who have been subscribing. And for those of you that are new to my channel and you like what I have to say and the topics that I cover, I want to encourage you to also subscribe because it's super exciting as I see the numbers go up and more people benefiting from what I put out there. Definitely means a lot to me, and it confirms that actually I'm giving you information that actually is beneficial and helpful to you, maybe friends, family, and so on. If you want to learn more about me, please visit. There's so many ways in which you can learn about me. One of my, on Instagrams, you can find me Dr. Frankie Bashan. On Facebook, Frankie Bashan. You can also find me on TikTok. I've done some TikToks as well. And that's also Dr. Frankie Bashan. And I'm sure many of you already know I'm a clinical psychologist, been practicing for over 2 decades. And I'm also a board certified sex therapist and a professional matchmaker who is a CEO of Little Gay Book Matchmaking and Little Black Book Matchmaking. So you can visit those websites as well. And if you're single, get in there and fill out a free profile because we, including me and my team, are looking for matches for our matchmaking clients all the time. So get in there, and we look forward to learning more about you in there, and hopefully we can send you on a date. All right, so let's just jump into today's material. Learning to say no. So important to know how to say no. People-pleasing, codependent, Midwestern nice. We have lots of words to refer to a broadly common cultural experience where many people have an extremely difficult time saying no, or really anything that isn't what we think the other person wants to hear. Ironically, though, these behaviors usually grow out of a desire to maintain our relationships and people's good opinions of us. Many of us find that the opposite occurs over the long term. Relationships of any kind thrive with direct communication, and when we're consistently saying yes, when we really want to say no, our relationships with others quickly become stunted and mired in resentment. Even when we recognize this, however, making a change can be really hard. Just change for humans is really hard, right? If you spent your whole life believing you need to be as agreeable as possible at all times, even starting to learn how to say no or really express yourself honestly can feel impossible. But I'm going to give you a place to start right now, here today. Think about why you struggle with saying no. Many of us struggle with saying no and with boundaries just in general for a variety of reasons. And it can be as simple as gender. Women are generally socialized to be agreeable and non-confrontational. And you may have watched your own mother or sisters overextend themselves in significant ways. And you have therefore now internalized that behavior. For people who grew up in an unstable or traumatic home environment, saying no may feel like it puts you at risk, because at one point it actually really did put you at risk. If you came from a guest culture, even within the US, saying no in a direct way may have been considered extremely disrespectful and actually even aggressive. The way forward to healthier relationships is clear, regardless of the reasons you struggle with this. But understanding where your concerns are rooted can help you approach this area of growth with more compassion and understanding for yourself and work through this process more effectively. Notice where resentment is showing up in your life. Resentment is a normal part of everyone's emotional spectrum, but every emotion has a function, and resentment's function is to show us where we need to set better boundaries for ourselves, and in those moments say no so we can avoid feelings of resentment. Is there a place in your life, your relationship, your work life, your family, your friend group, where you're feeling a simmering anger? Can even be just like right beneath the surface? Maybe it's even you've waited so long, you've built up such a deep-seated resentment. Could be that too. Maybe it's a way you feel taken for granted by your partner. Maybe it's a colleague who always seemed to feel comfortable asking you to take work off your plate, off of her plate. Maybe it's the way your mother assumes you'll travel home for every single holiday, or the anticipation of the next time your friend will ask you for yet another ride somewhere. It's natural to feel like the other person should get their act together in these situations. Be more thoughtful. Notice the toll their asks are taking on you, or work to be more equitable. But that's not untrue. But the way for that to happen, right, is for us to begin saying no to these requests. Not for you to wait for the other person to have a moment of clarity while you nurse your resentment silently. We may feel in these situations like we're left without options. The other person is making you take on these extra tasks or putting you in a position where you can't push back. In reality, saying no is virtually always an option we have available to us. When we feel like we can't say no to things, it's usually because we feel worried about social consequences of doing so. Like someone potentially being displeased with us, or that we might lose a self-perception of being perfect, or being a really good friend or a good daughter. This doesn't change our responsibility to ourselves. Anytime resentment begins to crop up, it's a sign for you to take action, to take a step. Practice saying no in small, low-stakes situations. The idea of starting to set more boundaries or say no more often can feel like an extreme one. If we come from a culture or family where saying no is considered out of bounds, then when we imagine ourselves doing so, we can feel like it's going to be outrageously harsh, or that saying no will involve a full dressing down of the other person. We may even have had this experience. If you've been overextending yourself and saying yes to things you want to say no to for a long time, you may have previously found yourself exploding or lashing out when you feel like you've hit your limit. And this is your only context for saying no to anything. In reality, saying no can often calm and in low stakes situations and non-confrontational ones, often when people ask you things or make requests, it isn't an attempt to manipulate you into doing them at any cost. It's a genuine and open curiosity about whether you're available. And a simple no will be received as what it is, information that allows them to make a choice on how to proceed with you. Don't believe me? You can test this theory out for yourself. The next time someone asks you for something minor, a ride to the airport, a tampon out of your purse, to cover a shift at work, practice saying no casually and politely, even if it's something you could actually do. Try to do so without too much effort. You don't need to explain yourself in great detail or apologize profusely. I can't. Sorry. Will do. I'm not crazy about that restaurant. Let's go somewhere else. Notice what happens when you do this, both in yourself and the other person. Do they get mad? Do they sulk or punish you? Do they act hurt or wounded? Most likely they don't. They might appear momentarily frustrated or stressed, maybe even disappointed, but you'll see they'll move on almost immediately. And what comes up for you? Do you feel guilty or stressed? Do you feel the urge to apologize or offer something else to make up for it or find another solution for this person? Notice these feelings that are coming up for you and let them pass. Work on saying no in more important contexts. Of course, this practice becomes more difficult with higher stakes conflicts, and yet those are exactly the times we need these skills the most. When the easiest thing to do would be to say yes to our partner for the 1,000th time, but doing so would entrench a pattern of resentment that is slowly poisoning our relationship. Steadfastly saying no in these contexts often isn't easy, and that's why building up our skills around it is so important. When the time comes where you feel the resentment building and know that we need to make a change, the same rules apply as I just talked about. You need only calmly and directly state what you are and are not available for, and that you're open to hearing your partner's reaction to that, but that it won't mean your decision will change. The goal for you and your partner is to be able to come up with a solution together that gets both of your needs met, but that doesn't involve either of you accommodating beyond what's healthy and sustainable for you. this could look like. I can't host your friends for a dinner party when I'm on a deadline at work. I would love to host a different time or help you figure out a different plan for your event. Another example, I'm not comfortable spending Christmas at your family's house given the way that your mother treats me. We can talk about staying at a hotel in the area instead, or if you want to go visit them without me, I'll understand. Though it would mean a lot to me if you were open to visiting my parents during the holidays. Or, I know you like doing that in bed, but it doesn't feel good to me. Is there something else we can try? Folks, I know this sounds really hard, especially if you're someone who really hasn't been good about setting boundaries. But once you get some practice under your belt, you're going to see that actually it becomes easier and your relationships are healthier and you're not carrying this uncomfortable feeling of anger, which is really resentment, and it brews and it creates distancing and you get guarded. And the idea is to get closer and more intimate in your relationships. So hopefully you take something away from my talk today. And thanks so much for tuning in. Ask questions, comments below. I try to respond to them. And share today's talk if you know anybody that could benefit from it. And I will see you all next week. Thanks so much. Hugs. Kisses. Bye.